David Shinn is the former U.S. ambassador to Ethiopia. He joins us now from Washington. Thanks so much for being with us. First, for a president that's had very little to say about Africa since taking office, I mean, he's never even visited, why this motivation to take such serious action against Ethiopia?
Well, it began with a personal request from Egyptian President Al-sisi to President Trump to mediate this issue of Nile water release from the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam at the beginning of this year. And President Trump appointed Treasury Secretary Mnuchin to lead that effort. Continued for several months. It broke down, was not successful, and has now been moved to the African Union. But in the meantime, there has not been an understanding between Egypt, Ethiopia, and Sudan upon releasing water from the dam. And the American administration is using sort of high pressure tactics to try to get Ethiopia to change its position.
Okay, so it's not so much about what might be right or wrong, it's really about the geopolitical issues involved, if I'm understanding correctly. So how will Ethiopia respond then? Because many Ethiopians see this not as a utilitarian issue in the needing water, but actually a matter of national pride for the country.
Well, they do see it as an issue of national pride, and literally millions of Ethiopians have donated to this dam building project. So they're very much invested in it, both those in Ethiopia and those living in Ethiopian diasporas around the world. And I think you're right. It is more a question of power politics from the standpoint of the United States than it is the rightness or the wrongness of whatever any country is doing in terms of releasing water from the reservoir. Basically, Ethiopia has said it must be turned over to the African Union and let them sort out the differences between Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia. And that's where it stands today.
Okay. But what about the criticism? I mean, some are saying that, the safety mechanisms are not in place, nor are the agreements, to regulate the water feeding the dam that directly affects Sudan and Egypt. What can you tell us about that? What are the actual technical and logistical issues that are still at stake here?
Well, I think in terms of the safety issues, there's a lot we simply don't know, and that's part of the problem. There are those who have alleged, well, what if there's a big earthquake in the vicinity of the dam and it somehow damages the structure of the dam? Well, I suppose technically that's a possibility, although that's not a region that is prone to earthquakes. The bigger issue really is agreement upon how much water is backed up during the period that the dam is being filled, and then how much will be released once it is filled. And these are legitimate concerns by both Egypt and Sudan, particularly Egypt. Sudan is less concerned about the release of water because it doesn't rely so heavily upon it. Egypt does. And this is where Ethiopia must ensure that it do no harm to Egypt or to Sudan. But the role of the United States in all of this is to try to pressure Ethiopia to take a position that I guess is closer to the Egyptian position. And my own view is that's not going to work.
Okay. David Shinn, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks so much for being with us. We greatly appreciate it.